Hello, and welcome to another 9-minute Bible study. Our starting point, Isaiah chapter 37, verse 1. Before we look at the verse, where have we been? In any revival, this pattern will be followed. First, the ministry and the servants will be revived, and they will return to what the Lord had called them to do. Second, the congregation will return to do what God called them to do. 3, there will be outreach, where those in the congregation and those who are in the ministry will reach out to those who wandered away from the truth so they can come back to the truth. 4th, the actual revival itself, where the people from all walks come back to the house of the Lord. And then what was the 5th phase? Giving. Now, for 14 years in the book of 2 Chronicles, everything was going well in Judah. But that doesn't mean the enemy was quiet. What does the Bible say about our enemy? He steals, he kills, and destroys. So while revival was taking place in the two southern tribes of Judah, the enemy, the Assyrians, they were off stealing and killing and destroying, including the 10 northern tribes of Israel, which they destroyed and deported out of their land. As we begin chapter 37, we see the enemy, the Assyrians, outside of Jerusalem. They're just a few miles down the road in another city. They send their messenger to deliver the message of doom, which is, your God's not going to deliver you. We're going to wipe you all off the planet. Now, we mentioned that the enemy is good at stealing, he's good at killing, he's good at destroying. Let's add one more thing. He's good at intimidation. That's what chapter 36 in Isaiah was all about. Intimidation. The enemy intimidating those who had returned to the worship of the Lord in our times. What will the enemy do when the church is truly revived? Well, first, he will intimidate. But this isn't the big bad wolf. No, this is worse. Because the enemy can steal, he can destroy, he can do all of this. Unless we are in right relationship with God. Then things will go our way. Now, at the beginning of chapter 37, King Hezekiah hears the message that the king of Assyria plans to wipe them off the face of the earth. He is rightfully concerned. Now, understand something. Hearing something and being concerned isn't necessarily fear. It just means you know the threat is real. When we look at our lives and our circumstances, understand something. The enemy isn't just going to huff and puff. It's a real threat. And we need to take it seriously. Now, what did King Hezekiah do? He sent word to the prophet Isaiah. With this, we see the introduction of the prophet to everything that is going on. What is a prophet? Well, let's start in the book Exodus for a moment. Exodus, the 7th chapter. I'm going to read the first few verses where it says, And the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. So, in the eyes of Pharaoh, what was Moses? A lowercase g god. What is Aaron? He is operating as the prophet of Moses. So what's a prophet? Verse 2. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send children of Israel out of his land. So, what is Aaron doing? He is receiving the message from Moses. Then he is delivering the message to Pharaoh. What is a prophet? He is a spokesman. In this case, a prophet is the spokesman for God to mankind in our world. In the book of Isaiah, Isaiah is the prophet. What is he? He is the spokesman of God to that time. Now, what is the message of a prophet? It really is going to depend on who the audience is. Follow with me to the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 1. This is what the Lord said about Jeremiah's prophetic office. In chapter 1, verse 10. See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant. Now, who is Jeremiah's audience? Are they a group of people who are worshiping the Lord? In the vast majority of the time of the prophet Jeremiah, the people of Judah were not worshiping the Lord. Therefore, the message of the prophet is not going to be a positive, happy message. Root out, destroy. The rest of the book of Jeremiah, it was geared toward nations that were worshiping idols. Their message is not going to be positive. Why? Because they're in rebellion against the Lord. Now, follow with me to 1 Corinthians chapter 14. And let me read verse 4, where it says, He that speaks in an unknown tongue edifies himself, but he that prophesies, there's our prophesy. So what is the message of the prophet? Verse 3. Edification, exhortation, comfort. Now, who is the audience that Paul is speaking to? Is he talking to a bunch of godless unbelievers? Or is he talking to a bunch of believers who actually trust God? Amen. He's talking to Christians, us, believers. Our message, is it negative or is it positive? Our message is positive. To edify or to teach the basics, to exhort or to provide direction, to comfort or to help. The Lord, through prophetic messages, He will speak to the church positively. Now, those who are unbelievers, are they going to be edified, exhorted, and comforted? No. Why? Because they're unbelievers. There is nothing to build up or help because they are in rebellion against the Lord. Jeremiah's call is the call to those who are lost. Paul's call is the one to those who are saved. When we are looking inside the church, do we receive the Paul version of prophecy or the Jeremiah version of prophecy? We receive the positive message of prophecy. And we will pick up with this in our next lesson.